Most retirees with over $1 million saved are pulling from the wrong accounts first, and it's costing them 6 figures in unnecessary taxes during their best years of retirement. The order you withdraw from, your 401k, IRA, Roth, and taxable accounts, can make a $200,000 difference in what you actually get to spend in your go-go years. I'm Megan Ramshaw, Lead Financial Advisor and CFP at MOKAN Wealth, and today I'm breaking down the exact withdrawal sequence that helps self-made 401k and IRA millionaires keep more and pay less to Uncle Sam. Let me start with something that surprises most people. When you've saved $1 million or more, your biggest risk isn't running out of money. Your biggest risk is paying way too much in taxes and leaving hundreds of thousands on the table that you could have been spending during your healthiest, most active years. Here's what I see all the time. Someone retires at 62 or 65 with $2 million saved. They immediately start pulling from their 401k or IRA because that's where most of their money sits. Fast forward to age 75 and now they're forced to take required minimum distributions, or RMDs, on top of Social Security. Suddenly they're in the 24% or even 32% tax bracket, paying IRMA surcharges on Medicare and watching thousands of dollars every year go straight to the IRS. The go-go years are typically your 60s to early 70s. This is when you're healthy enough to travel, active enough to enjoy hobbies, and motivated to do all those things you put off during your working years. Research shows that spending naturally declines as we age into our late 70s and 80s. Not because we run out of money, but because we naturally slow down. That's why getting your withdrawal strategy right during these early retirement years is so critical. You want maximum spending power when you'll actually use it. Account number 1 to spend first, your taxable brokerage account. Now, I know what you're thinking. Megan, shouldn't I leave that money invested to keep growing? Here's why that thinking can actually cost you money. Let's say you have $200,000 in a taxable brokerage account. When you sell investments you've held for more than a year, you pay long-term capital gains rates, not ordinary income tax rates. For 2025, if you're married filing jointly with taxable income up to $94,050, you pay 0% on long-term capital gains. 0. Even if you're in the 15% capital gains bracket, that's still significantly lower than the 22 or 24% ordinary income rate you'd pay pulling from your traditional IRA. Here's the strategy. Use your taxable account to cover your living expenses in early retirement while keeping your overall taxable income low. This does a few powerful things. First, it preserves your tax-deferred accounts to keep growing. Second, it keeps you in a lower tax bracket. And third, it gives you flexibility to do strategic Roth conversions, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's walk through a hypothetical scenario. Imagine you need $80,000 per year to live on, and you have $300,000 in a taxable brokerage account. By pulling from this account first, you might only pay capital gains tax on your gains, not the entire balance. If you have $100,000 in gains and $200,000 in basis, you're only paying tax on that $100,000 in gains. And depending on your income, potentially at 0% or 15%. Compare that to pulling $80,000 from your traditional IRA. Every single dollar is taxed as ordinary income. At the 22% bracket, that's $17,600 in taxes, versus potentially 0 to $15,000 from the brokerage account. Over 10 years in your go-go years, that difference compounds to real money you could be spending on travel, grandkids, or whatever brings you joy. Account number 2 to spend from, strategic pre-tax IRA and 401k withdrawals. But you need to be strategic about it. This isn't about draining the account. It's about filling up lower tax brackets before Social Security kicks in and before RMDs force your hand. Let's say you retire at 62 and plan to delay Social Security until age 70 to maximize your benefit. During those 8 years, you have had no Social Security income. Your taxable income is lower than it's been in decades. This is the perfect time to pull from your traditional IRA up to the top of the 12% bracket or 22% tax bracket. Here's a hypothetical example. You're married filing jointly. The 12% bracket in 2025 goes up to $96,950 in taxable income. After your standard deduction of $30,000, you can have about $127,000 in gross income and still stay in the 12% bracket. If you need $80,000 to live on and you're supplementing with $40,000 from your taxable account, you could pull another $47,000 from your traditional IRA, convert it to Roth if you want, and only pay 12% instead of 22 or 24% you'd pay later when RMDs kick in. This strategy accomplishes several goals. You're reducing the size of your pre-tax accounts, which means smaller RMDs later. You're paying taxes at known low rates instead of unknown higher rates in the future. And you're creating tax-free Roth money that you can tap later without increasing your taxable income. One more critical point about healthcare. If you retire before age 65, managing your income is crucial for ACA subsidies. Too much income from IRA withdrawals can eliminate your healthcare subsidies, costing thousands per year. After 65, IRMA kicks in. In 2025, if your modified adjusted gross income exceeds $212,000 as a married couple, you start paying IRMA surcharges on Medicare Part B and Part D. Those surcharges can add over $3,000 per year to your Medicare costs. Strategic withdrawals help you avoid these traps. The third account in the sequence is your Roth IRA. Why save it for last? Because it's your most powerful tax asset. Roth money grows tax-free, comes out tax-free, and doesn't count towards your taxable income for things like IRMA or Social Security taxation. It's the ultimate flexibility account. Unlike your traditional IRA, which forces you to take RMDs at age 73, your Roth IRA has no required distributions during your lifetime. That means you can let it grow as long as you want. Here's when it makes sense to tap your Roth earlier than last. Let's say you're in a year where you've already maximized your other accounts, filled up your desired tax bracket, and you need extra funds for a big expense like a new car, home renovation, or special trip. Your Roth is perfect because it doesn't increase your taxable income. You won't trigger IRMA, you won't cause more of your Social Security to be taxed, and you won't bump yourself into a higher bracket. But in most cases, I see successful retirees treating their Roth like a volatility buffer and a legacy asset. When the market is down, instead of selling traditional IRA assets at a loss, they pull from Roth to let those depressed pre-tax accounts recover. And because Roth accounts pass tax-free to heirs, they're an incredible wealth transfer tool. A hypothetical scenario, you have $500,000 in a Roth IRA at age 65. You don't touch it for 20 years, letting it grow. At a 6% average return, that Roth could grow to over $1.6 million, all completely tax-free to you or your heirs. Compare that to a traditional IRA where every dollar withdrawn is taxed as ordinary income. The Roth is simply too valuable to spend first, unless you have a specific strategic reason. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. This is a hypothetical scenario based on situations I see often. Let's say you're 62, recently retired, and you have a $2 million portfolio. Here's the breakdown. $200,000 in a taxable brokerage account, $1.5 million in traditional IRAs and 401ks, and $300,000 in a Roth IRA. You need $120,000 per year to live your best life during your go-go years. Here's the strategy. From age 62 to 70, before you claim Social Security, you pull $50,000 per year from your taxable brokerage account. Because of your cost basis, you're only paying capital gains tax on maybe $20,000 of gains per year. At the 15% capital gains rate, that's $3,000 in taxes. Simultaneously, you take another $70,000 per year from your traditional IRA. This fills up the 12% bracket without pushing you into the 22% bracket. You pay about $8,400 in federal taxes on that $70,000. Your total tax bill is roughly $11,400, giving you an effective tax rate of about 9.5%. You have $120,000 to spend, and you're only paying $11,400 in taxes. Now, let's compare that to the typical approach where you immediately pull all $120,000 from your traditional IRA. At the 22% bracket, you're paying $26,400 in taxes, more than double. Over 8 years before Social Security, that's a difference of $120,000 in unnecessary taxes. That's money you could have spent traveling, helping your kids, or simply enjoying your life. At age 70, you claim Social Security, bringing in $45,000 per year. Now your traditional IRA withdrawal drops because Social Security covers part of your income. You continue supplementing from your taxable and traditional accounts as needed, and you leave your Roth untouched to keep growing tax-free. One of the biggest mistakes I see is treating a withdrawal strategy like a set-it-and-forget-it decision. Your situation changes every year. Markets fluctuate, tax laws change, your spending needs evolve, and your health might shift. That's why successful retirees review their withdrawal strategy at least annually. Here's what that looks like. Every November or December before the year ends, sit down with your financial advisor and look at the following. First, where did your income come from this year? Did you stay in your target tax bracket or did you overshoot? Second, what are your RMDs going to look like in future years? Are they growing uncomfortably large? Third, are there opportunities for Roth conversions before year end? And fourth, what's your spending plan for next year? Let's say in 1 year the market has a big run up and your traditional IRA grows significantly. That might be a year to accelerate conversions to Roth to keep future RMDs manageable. Or maybe you have a year with unexpectedly high medical expenses. That higher spending might push you into a higher bracket temporarily, so you pull more from your Roth to avoid compounding the tax hit. The point is, withdrawal strategy isn't static, it's dynamic. The 3-account sequence, taxable first, strategic traditional IRA second, and Roth last, is the foundation. But the exact amounts you pull from each account should flex based on your life and the tax environment. Before we wrap up, let me hit on a few common mistakes I see that can derail even the best withdrawal strategy. First, pulling too much from traditional accounts too early. I get it, that's where most of your money is, but resist the urge to drain it fast. Spreading withdrawals over more years keeps you in lower brackets and reduces lifetime taxes. Second, ignoring Roth conversions during low income years. The years between retirement and Social Security are golden for conversions. If you don't take advantage, you're leaving money on the table. Third, not coordinating with your spouse. If one spouse has significantly more in retirement accounts, failing to coordinate can lead to massive tax bills for the surviving spouse later. Fourth, forgetting about state taxes. Some states don't tax retirement income while others do. If you're considering a move in retirement, factor that into your withdrawal strategy. And fifth, failing to adjust for healthcare costs and IRMA. Managing income to avoid IRMA surcharges can save thousands per year. If you're a self-made 401k or IRA millionaire and you want to make sure you're keeping more and paying less to Uncle Sam during your best years, let's talk. At MOKAN Wealth, we specialize in helping million-dollar savers optimize every dollar through the 5-seed system. Head over to our website and click Get Started Now to see if we're a fit.